now happening, okay? So what this did was, this put fire under our feet. Fire under our feet, because what we were expecting to happen in 2020 with President winning, it didn't happen. So this got everybody to now start running up and down the place and start getting their house in order and wondering what is going on, okay? So this caused us to pray and fast and seek Daddy's face. And it allowed us to step up the war game, step up the warfare game. Because what happened was, Abba Yahweh, in his mercy and his grace, oh Abba, you're so funny sometimes. You are so hilarious. Sometimes I really wonder. Abba Yahweh allowed the enemy to overplay their hand. Okay? Abba Yahweh allowed the evil entities, the sorcerers, the diviners, the witches, the warlocks, all the powers of darkness, okay? Everyone was practicing witchcraft. He allowed them to continue moving full force, full throttle in what they were doing, believing that what they were doing was going to floor America, was going to floor the whole world, because it's really an agenda against the whole world. You come against America, you're really coming against the whole world, because America really has to say so about everything else that's going on in the world, okay? So what happened was, Abba Yahweh allowed these evil entities and these evil prophecies as well. So there are many people who claim to be prophets, who claim to be on the side of light, that have made many prophecies about what was going to happen with this election, okay? And many of them are sorcerers. Many of them are sorcerers. Many of them are witches and warlocks. And they claim that Yahweh is their God. And yes, they cover their head and they come on their podcast and they prophesy and say, yes, God is my God. Yahweh is my Yahweh. He's my master. He's my this. He's my that. And God told me that this is going to happen. And God told me that that is going to happen. And this and the whole 9 yards. This is a plan that a lot of people don't know, because a lot of people don't know the difference between a witch and a warlock and a real man or woman of God. A lot of people do not know when certain people are under the spell of witchcraft or under that evil anointing. A lot of people can't tell. So the moment you hear somebody say, oh, I'm a child of God, or I believe in God, or I believe in Yahweh, they gravitate to them and say, oh, this person must be God, because guess what? They prophesied this and it happened, and they prophesied that and it happened, and they prophesied this and it happened. All these things happen, so they must be a child of God. No, children, no. That's not how this thing works in Christendom. There's something called familiar spirits, in case you don't know. Familiar, very familiar. Yes, children. And these people who have not been through any kind of consecration, who've never been through any kind of deliverance whatsoever in their life, are under the spirit of sorcery. So you have familiar spirits that tell them things, okay? And what happens is that they become a medium. So the spirit tells them things and they broadcast it. And what is really happening, it's an evil prophecy. It's not a prophecy from God. No, not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, not the God of light. It is from the God of darkness. That is who their God is. So they're prophesying these things over and over and over again over the earth, and people are listening to say, yes, it must be God because this happened and that happened. No such thing, children. No such thing. You have to test the spirit by the spirit to see if it is approved of Yahweh, the one and only true God. And if it is not Abba Yahweh, if you are connected, if you're really and truly connected, you will know the difference. So many of these people prophesied that President Trump was not going to win, right? And when it happened that he did win, a lot of them are retracting their statements and saying, there's a lot of makeup as to why he didn't win. Oh, he didn't win because this and he didn't win that and whatever. No case. No. That's not the situation at all, children. Abba Yahweh allowed them to have the playing field. Okay, go ahead and do what you feel like you're going to do, because guess what? It is time for my children to rise up. It is time for my children to rise up and open their eyes and open their ears and see what is happening and learn to fight for their things. Because what has been happening is that they've been sitting down and saying, you know what? God knows what I want. God knows what I need. So I'm just going to sit back here and wait on him to deliver it for me. And Abba Yahweh is saying no more of that. Because easy comes and easy goes. And if I place you in a situation where you have it easy again for another 4 years and you haven't worked for it, you haven't fought for it, you haven't done what you needed to do, you didn't overcome the evil, you didn't learn how to overcome the wickedness in your life, you didn't learn how to overcome the disease and get deliverance. It's deliverance, you know. These 4 years for us was a whole lot of deliverance for the people of light. And a lot of you don't even realize it. A lot of you were complaining and whining and complaining and whining. But guess what? God was using the situation to deliver us. Okay? This is a perfect example of what happened when they were in Egypt and he hardened Pharaoh's heart. And God kept saying, yeah man, I'm going to deliver you, you know. I'm going to. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses kept saying it. But God kept hardening Pharaoh's heart. Because the people still had Egypt inside of them. And what God needed was for Egypt to come out of them. So even though they were now out of Egypt, they left, Pharaoh allowed them to leave, they still had that Egypt mentality inside of them. So they were still whining and they were still complaining and nothing was enough for them. And even though God was a fire, a pillar of fire ahead of them and a cloud of pillar of